Welcome, Fading Lasco, to the Deep Dive. You're looking to get a handle on some seriously important stuff without feeling like you're drowning in information, and that's exactly what we're all about.
Yeah, we take a mountain of sources, reports, articles, our own digging, and really we just extract the key insights you need.
Think of it as your shortcut to being well-informed, maybe with a few surprising details thrown in to keep things interesting.
That's right. Today, our mission is to thoroughly explore the crucial developments and strategic conversations happening around artificial general intelligence (AGI) right here in 2025.
Okay.
We've sifted through a pretty comprehensive intelligence briefing. It covers, well, everything from the latest tech leaps to the big geopolitical strategies, corporate plays, governance puzzles.
Safety must-haves too, right?
Oh, yeah, safety, and even some of the more philosophical questions that pop up.
And for this deep dive, our main resource is an in-depth report called Publication AGI 2025, Race, Control, and the Future of Intelligence. But we're also pulling in insights from places like RAND, Stanford HAI, the UN, and even hearing things from the big AI companies themselves.
No, it's super important to remember, and the main source stresses this right up front. Predicting the future of AGI. It's tricky. About as reliable as predicting next week's weather, maybe.
Things are moving incredibly fast.
Exactly. Warp speed. And there's just a ton of uncertainty built in. So our goal isn't really to make grand pronouncements, but to nail down the key trends and discussions that are happening right now, in 2025.
Okay, let's dive in then. Let's unpack this.
Let's start with the big picture. What's really striking, I think, is the shift. We've moved from these kind of abstract chats about AGI to a very real, very fierce global race.
Right, by 2025, it's not just academics talking anymore.
Not at all. It's a high-stakes contest. You've got nations involved, major corporations. Everyone wants a piece.
And the potential rewards are just immense, aren't they? We're talking economic dominance.
The economic advantages, big boost to national security, maybe even, revolutionary scientific breakthroughs. These are huge drivers for the competition.
Absolutely. But like you said, high stakes mean high risks. And a big worry floating around this AGI race is, well, is safety getting pushed aside in the rush to be first?
That's the central tension, I think. So let's zoom in on some of the national strategies. Maybe start with the United States.
Okay, the U.S. in 2025, what's the main goal?
Pretty clear objective. Maintain global AI leadership. It's not just about bragging rights. It's seen as vital for the economy long term and, crucially, for national security.
And they're putting serious money behind that. The Stargate initiative.
Oh, yeah. Stargate is massive. We're talking $500 billion.
Yeah.
It's a government-backed project pulling in big names like Oracle, SoftBank, OpenAI.
All for new data centers.
20 new AI data centers. It's just an unprecedented scale of investment in the underlying infrastructure for AI.
$500 billion. That really paints a picture. And that's even before you count private sector spending, like Microsoft throwing, what was it, $80 billion at AI this year.
Exactly. The private investment is huge, too. Now, policy-wise, there's been a bit of a shakeup, hasn't there? Yeah. Early 2025, President Trump's executive order removing barriers to American leadership in artificial intelligence, it basically rolled back some previous AI governance policies.
Signaling more deregulation.
That seems to be the goal, yeah, to speed up innovation. But, it does create potential friction with maybe earlier approaches or international ones that favored more oversight.
Right. It raises that question. Does hitting the gas on innovation mean easing off the brakes on safety coordination?
It's a key question.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the government itself is actually using AI more and more.
In what sort of areas?
We're seeing it increasingly in defense, things like cybersecurity, autonomous systems, strategy development, also in policymaking, using AI for simulations, impact assessment.
And public services, too.
Yeah, optimizing infrastructure, smart cities, emergency response. It's really getting embedded pretty deeply into how government functions.
And it's not just about the immediate practical stuff. They're still funding the basic research, too.
Definitely. The National Science Foundation, the NSF, keeps investing in fundamental AI research through its National AI Research Institutes.
What kind of areas are they focusing on now?
For fiscal 24 and 25, we're seeing themes like astronomical sciences, materials research, and just strengthening the core AI foundations. It's about both near-term wins and building that long-term scientific base.
Sounds like a really comprehensive, multi-pronged strategy from the U.S. Okay, let's switch continents. China. What's their approach in this AGI race?
China's ambition is, well, it's just as significant. They're aiming for leadership in AGI. Full stop.
For economic reasons. National security.
Both. Definitely economic transformation across key industries, but also strengthening national security. And a big goal for 2025 is closing the performance gap. They want their AI models to catch up to the leading US ones fast.
So it's an urgent push.
Very urgent. Not slow and steady. They want to catch up and maybe even leapfrog.
And what kind of big moves are they making to
Yeah.
achieve that?
Well, state support is still absolutely crucial. A huge one was that $47.5 billion semiconductor fund.
Right. Targeting domestic chip production.
Exactly. Which
Yeah.
is obviously fundamental for AI.
Mhm.
And then on the corporate side, you've got Baidu making really aggressive moves with its ERNIE models.
They just launched some new ones, didn't they?
Yeah, March 2025, ERNIE 4.5, that's multimodal, and ERNIE X1, their first big reasoning model. And they're making claims, that these are competitive, maybe even better than some rivals like DeepSeek R1 or GPT-4o.
And potentially cheaper?
Often at a lower cost, yeah. Which, could that lower cost drive wider adoption? Could it shift the global market a bit? It's something to watch.
That cost factor could be huge. And Baidu's not stopping there.
No, they've announced ERNIE 5 for later in 2025, promising even better multimodality. And it's not just Baidu. We're seeing really strong competitors emerge, like DeepSeek AI.
Your models have been impressive, right?
Sure. Yeah, R1 and V3 set some new benchmarks for reasoning and efficiency. They're really challenging the established players. And, China still leads the world in the sheer number of AI research papers and patents.
So a massive amount of knowledge generation happening, too.
Absolutely. It's development and foundational work.
So it seems like a mix of established giants like Baidu, plus these ambitious startups like DeepSeek. What about open source? That's been a big theme globally.
That's another interesting move from Baidu. They announced plans to open source the ERNIE model codebase later in 2025.
Which could really shake things up.
It could, especially for boosting their domestic AI scene and competing with Western open source stuff like Llama. It could really accelerate development within China, maybe even beyond. You wonder if it could spark a new wave of open source innovation in the East.
It certainly sounds like China is moving incredibly fast, mounting a serious challenge. Now, the US and China are the big two, obviously, but what about other countries? What's happening elsewhere?
Yeah, while the US-China dynamic gets most of the headlines, other nations are definitely in the game. Canada, for instance, pledged CAD $2.4 billion for AI.
Significant sum.
It is. France hosted the AI Action Summit earlier this year, playing a role in those international talks. The UK keeps trying to position itself as a hub for AI safety and standards with its Safety Institute and the Standards Hub.
In Germany, I heard they were facing some challenges.
Reportedly, yeah. Hurdles in translating strong research into actual market applications, things like high costs, maybe some regulatory burdens mentioned. It's a good reminder, isn't it, that having great research doesn't automatically mean market leadership.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see these different national approaches and, well, varying speeds. And public opinion isn't uniform either, is it?
Not at all. Polling data from 2025 shows much higher optimism about AI's benefits in many Asian countries. China, Indonesia, Thailand, compared to, say, Canada, the US, the Netherlands.
Lower optimism there.
Generally lower, yeah. Although, interestingly, some Western countries that were more skeptical seem to be showing a recent uptick in optimism.
Why do you think that is?
Maybe as people start seeing more real-world benefits, perhaps, that skepticism might be softening in some places. It suggests public perception is still very much evolving globally.
So a really complex, layered global picture in this AGI race. Okay, let's shift gears now from nations to the tech powerhouses themselves, the corporate frontier labs. Starting with the big one, OpenAI. What's their driving mission here?
OpenAI's mission is stated pretty clearly. Ensure AGI, which they define pretty broadly as systems outperforming humans at most economically valuable work, benefits all of humanity.
But they're aiming even higher now, aren't they? Superintelligence?
Right. In 2025, CEO Sam Altman has talked about pursuing superintelligence beyond AGI, the potential to revolutionize science, dramatically increase global abundance. It's a huge vision.
And their charter reflects that. Broadly distributed benefits, safety.
Yeah, the charter emphasizes distributing benefits widely, long-term safety, technical leadership, and even cooperating with others if they get closer to safe AGI first. It's very ambitious, ethically framed.
But the question is always how you balance that ambition with the risks.
Exactly, especially with technology that's potentially powerful.
And they've been incredibly busy in the first half of 2025. What have they launched?
Oh, it's been nonstop. They released O3 and O4 Mini in April. That was after launching GPT 4.1 via API, making big strides in image generation with 4.0.
And new benchmarks, too.
Yeah, new benchmarks for evaluating AI agents like BrowseCom, and one for replicating research, Paperbench. And as we mentioned, they're a key partner in the government's Stargate initiative.
So pivotal for national infrastructure. They really seem to be firing on all cylinders.
Absolutely, and the money behind it is just staggering.
That funding round in March.
$40 billion, valuing the company at $300 billion. And they reported 500 million weekly ChatGPT users. Just think about the scale the resources needed.
Wow. And they shuffled leadership, too.
Yeah, some key changes. Mark Chen to CRO, Brad Lightcap's COO role expanded, Julia Villagra CPO, managing that explosive growth. And they also put out a policy framework proposal in March.
Showing they're thinking about governance, too, not just build.
Right. They're actively trying to shape that conversation. But it's not all profit, is it? Altman admitted something about costs.
Yeah, that was interesting. He publicly acknowledged the huge operational costs, saying their $200 a month One Pro subscription was actually losing money because usage was so high.
Despite the price tag.
Exactly.
Right.
Even with those costs, Altman's expressed huge confidence, saying OpenAI knows how to build AGI.
Yeah, and predicting AI agents could be in the workforce as early as this year, 2025. It's a very bold claim. Fuels the debate, doesn't it? Do you think we'll see AI agents taking actual jobs this year?
It's a massive prediction.
Okay.
From OpenAI to another giant, Google DeepMind. They might use the AGI label less, but their work clearly points that way. What's their mission statement?
Their stated mission is build AI responsibly to benefit humanity. So while maybe less aggressive with the AGI branding than OpenAI, they're focused on tackling incredibly complex problems and building ever more general, capable models. Well, the trajectory is clear.
They're definitely in the race.
Oh, absolutely. And that emphasis on responsible development is a big part of their public image.
What key things have they rolled out in 2025?
They've kept up an impressive pace. Gemini 2.5 Flash came out in April. They called it their first fully hybrid reasoning model.
Offering more control for developers.
Seems like it. Then VO2, their advanced video generation model, got integrated into Gemini Advanced. And AlphaFold, of course, remains huge.
The protein folding work.
Yeah, revolutionizing structural biology. It really showcases AI's power for scientific discovery. And they're still working on Project Astra, that prototype for a future universal AI assistant.
So pushing boundaries across many different areas.
Seems like it. From fundamental science to potential future products. And they're also focused on efficiency, right? Making the training work better.
Absolutely. They published updates on their DeLoco methodology, distributed low communication training back in March, trying to make training these massive models more efficient, especially over less than perfect networks.
And partnerships. They're working with NVIDIA more.
Yeah, and expanded collaboration with NVIDIA, using AI and simulation for things like robotics, drug discovery, even optimizing energy grids. And on the consumer side, they introduced those AI-powered TV news summaries using Gemini.
So integrating AI everywhere, how long before AI summarizes everything for us?
It feels like it's heading that way. Now, Google, like others, isn't just using off-the-shelf hardware. They have their own chips, the TPUs.
Right, the tensor processing units. That's a crucial part of their strategy. The latest generation is codenamed Ironwood.
And the idea is to optimize for their specific AI needs.
Exactly. Custom chips tuned for the massive AI workloads they run. It gives them advantages in performance optimization. They excel at the matrix math core to AI. Energy efficiency is another big one. Custom chips can be much more efficient, vital for data center costs.
And cost control. Less reliance on NVIDIA.
That's part of it, yeah. More control over costs and supply chains. And finally, tight software integration. They can link TPUs closely with TensorFlow and their other frameworks for better performance.
So it's not about replacing NVIDIA entirely, but optimizing their own stack.
Precisely. It's a strategic move for more control and efficiency within their own massive infrastructure.
Makes total sense.
Okay.
Let's move to Anthropic. They have a really distinct angle, especially on safety. What's their core idea?
Anthropic really stands out with its explicit focus on AI safety and alignment with human well-being. It was founded by ex-OpenAI people who had safety concerns, remember?
Right. And they champion constitutional AI.
Yeah, training models based on a core set of principles, not just raw data or human feedback alone. Their CEO, Dario Amodei, consistently stresses prioritizing safety before capability. That's pretty countercultural in Silicon Valley's rush.
Making a clear statement that safety comes first.
Definitely. It's not an add-on for them.
And what have they been up to in 2025? Model releases? Safety work?
In February, they released Claude 3.7 Sonnet, calling it their most intelligent model yet. Development continues across the Claude series, 3.5 Haiku, 3 Opus are active too, and they're very involved in the international safety discussions, like the AI Safety Connect event in Paris.
And constitutional AI is still central.
Very much so. It guides how they build and deploy with that strong safety emphasis. It's interesting to see that principle-based approach playing out.
It's clear safety is baked into their DNA. Okay, Meta AI. Very different approach again, especially with their big push on open source. What's their vision?
Meta AI, guided by Jan LeCun, is all about open source AI, mainly through their llama models. LeCun himself is pretty skeptical of the term AGI and even the long-term future of current LLMs.
He prefers advanced machine intelligence,
Even
AMI.
Right, AMI. And he emphasizes AI systems needing a deep understanding of the physical world models for things like robotics. He thinks a big paradigm shift is coming in like 3 to 5 years.
And open source is key to their strategy, democratizing AI.
Absolutely, that's central. And that really came through at the Llama 4 release in 2025, didn't it?
Huge release. Tell us about Llama 4.
Yeah, April 2025. The Llama 4 family, you had Scout 109 billion parameters, and Maverick, a massive 400 billion parameter model, Meta's, first using a mixture of experts architecture for better efficiency.
And native multimodality handles text, images, video.
Right from the start. Plus, a potentially enormous context window, up to 10 million tokens talked about, though maybe 131K initially supported on some platforms.
And they made it widely available quickly.
Yeah, on Cloudflare Workers AI, Snowflake Cortex AI, really pushing for broad accessibility. And their research continues in perception, localization, reasoning. That wide availability could really boost innovation everywhere.
That's a massive contribution to open source. Okay, we touched on Baidu earlier in the China context. What's their overall goal as an AI company?
As China's top search engine and AI firm, Baidu wants to compete head-on with global leaders like OpenAI, but also domestic rivals like DeepSeek. Their aim is leadership in China's booming AI market, driven by their ERNIE models.
And they have that home field advantage, understanding the Chinese market.
Exactly, and their 2025 initiatives really show that ambition.
ERNIE 4.5, X1, the upcoming ERNIE 5.
Precisely. Plus, the plan to open source ERNIE. It underscores their commitment to advancing the tech and building an ecosystem domestically and maybe beyond. And this is all backed by big investments in their AI cloud and things like the Apollo autonomous driving project.
It's a comprehensive strategy. Okay, shifting again. Microsoft. Their strategy seems all about integration, embedding AI into everything they already do.
That's a perfect description. Microsoft's play is deep integration into Azure, Office, GitHub, their whole ecosystem, plus providing AI platforms for their huge enterprise customer base.
Through their own R&D and partnerships, like with OpenAI.
Yeah, their own work plus strategic partners. OpenAI is obviously key, but also others like Mistral AI. And a massive ongoing focus for them is responsible and ethical AI development and deployment.
Their reach across industries gives them a unique position.
It does, and their 2025 activities show this integrated, responsible approach.
That $80 billion investment
Underscores the commitment. Continuous enhancements to the Azure AI platform. Their key role providing cloud infrastructure for Stargate. Interestingly, they also released their own powerful but lightweight AI model designed for standard CPUs.
making advanced AI more accessible.
Exactly. And reflecting their global presence, they were a diamond sponsor for the ITU's AI for Good Summit this year. Their internal responsible AI frameworks are often held up as examples for corporate compliance.
So trying to lead on innovation and responsibility.
Seems to be the goal. They clearly see AI as fundamental to their entire future.
Okay, can't talk AI without NVIDIA. Not building the frontier models, but providing the essential tools, the hardware.
Absolute critical enabling role. NVIDIA dominates high-performance GPUs, the H100s, A100s, plus the software platforms like DGX Cloud, Omniverse for simulation, Isaac for robotics.
They're powering the whole race.
Fundamentally, their main aim is providing that foundational hardware and software. Without their tech, the progress we're seeing just wouldn't be happening at this pace. They're kind of the unsung heroes.
And they're not standing still either, are they? Still innovating.
Definitely not. Deepening collaborations like with Google DeepMind on robotics and drug discovery, and with Oracle Cloud for agentic AI. At their GTC 2025 conference, a big highlight was the Isaac GR0T-N1 project.
A foundation model for humanoid robots.
Yeah, a significant push into embodied AI. And of course, they're constantly evolving their core GPU tech and AI software frameworks like Rapids and Triton, staying ahead of the curve on the underlying infrastructure.
Not just enabling today's AI, but building for tomorrow's. Fascinating how central their role is. Okay, finally, in this section, XAI, Elon Musk's venture, their aim seems pretty straightforward.
Very direct. Founded by Musk, XAI explicitly aims to develop AGI and compete directly with the leaders OpenAI, Google, DeepMind. They're here to be a major player.
And Musk's outspoken views on AI safety add another layer, don't they?
They certainly do. And they've made concrete moves in 2025.
The Grok 3 model release.
Yes, positioning it as a competitor to things like GPT 4.5, DeepSeek R1, highlighting skills in comprehension, problem-solving, coding. Plus, they've secured massive funding reported at $12.13 billion.
Wow, serious resources.
Definitely gives them the firepower to pursue their goals. They're absolutely a force to watch.
So a very crowded, very competitive field. Beyond these giants, what's the rest of the ecosystem look like? Other notable companies, investment trends?
Oh, it's incredibly dynamic beyond the big names. DeepSeek AI, as we mentioned, is a major challenger, especially strong on reasoning efficiency. Mistral AI in France is prominent, big on open source, partnering even with Microsoft.
Cohere in Canada, too. Enterprise focus.
Yeah, Cohere focuses on enterprise LLMs. And then you have specialists really pushing boundaries. Midjourney, Stability AI and image generation, 11 Labs for voice, Figure AI and humanoid robots, super exciting area.
Takana AI with novel architectures.
Right. Plus all the companies building the essential AI infrastructure. The Forbes AI 50 list gives a good sense of this broader landscape. It's just a hotbed of innovation.
And the money keeps pouring in.
Absolutely. Corporate AI investment rebounded strongly in 2024, and that's continued into 2025. The U.S. still dominates private investment by a huge margin over China and the U.K. Generative AI is still white hot for VCs.
And businesses are actually using AI more.
Significantly more. A big jump in reported AI adoption by organizations. AI really dominated VC deal-making over the past year. The money is definitely flowing.
And underlying all this, the need for massive compute power.
Huge bottleneck.
Yeah.
And a massive investment area. Stargate is the national level example, but we're also seeing specialized infrastructure providers pop up, Crusoe Energy, Lambda, Together AI offering AI-focused cloud services and hardware.
Because progress is tied to compute.
Fundamentally, progress towards AGI is just intrinsically linked to advancements and investment in compute. Without the compute power, the models simply can't learn or run at scale.
Okay, so summing up section 1, it feels like this powerful feedback loop. Huge investment fuels, rapid development, attracts more investment, intensifies competition. But maybe, just maybe, safety concerns are getting a bit lost in the shuffle.
That's a really crucial takeaway. The sheer scale of investment, especially state-backed stuff like Stargate, makes AGI a national strategic priority. That can create pressure to prioritize speed over maybe comprehensive safety.
And the competitive landscape is shifting. U.S. leads in some ways, China closing gaps.
Exactly. U.S. leads on frontier model numbers, private investment, but China is closing the quality gap fast, leads on publications, patents, and those potentially lower-cost Chinese models could really disrupt the market. The competition just raises the stakes enormously.
And it's interesting that the very thing they're racing towards, AGI, isn't even clearly defined or agreed upon.
That's such an important point. OpenAI, Google, DeepMind talk AGI, superintelligence, but then you have influential figures like Jan LeCun at Meta who are skeptical, focusing more on world models or AMI.
So the race isn't even towards one single finish line.
It seems not. It encompasses multiple research paths, different architectures, different goals, all under this broad, advanced AI umbrella. Sometimes AGI feels more like a marketing term than a precise technical spec. It's a race towards something the racers themselves don't fully agree on.
Okay, let's unpack this. We've seen the intense race heating up. Now, section 2, the parallel. Urgent effort to manage it all. Governance, alignment, adaptation for a potential post-AGI world. Sounds like lots of activity, but maybe not always pulling in the same direction.
That sums it up well. As AI capabilities surge, there's this growing urgent global push for governance structures, technical alignment methods, socioeconomic adaptation plans. 2025 is buzzing with activity, international bodies, research institutions, governments, NGOs, all trying to set norms, standards, policies.
But coherence is a challenge.
A huge challenge. Getting everyone on the same page in this complex, fast-moving landscape. It's like trying to build a house while everyone's using different blueprints.
Okay, so let's start with the global governance efforts. The push for international standards. Established organizations like ISO, IEC, ITU are key here.
Yes, definitely. ISO, IEC, ITU are actively working together to develop global AI standards. The aim is to create standards that support policy goals, ensure responsible use, promote interoperability,
and bridge that governance gap. Many countries don't have strategies yet.
Right. ITU surveys this year highlighted that. Over half their member states lack national AI strategies. Even more lack specific AI regulations. So this standards work is vital, trying to create a common language, basically.
And we're seeing concrete initiatives from them in 2025.
Absolutely. A big one is the International AI Standards Summit planned for December in Seoul. That's ISO, IEC, ITU together, responding directly to calls from the UN report and the Global Digital Compact.
And the ITU's own summit, AI for Good.
Yeah, that's in Geneva in July, focusing on things like agentic AI, the governance gap, standards, and linking AI to the Sustainable Development Goals. A key part is the second AI Governance Day tackling safety, trust, standards, the regulatory gap, capacity building, especially for developing nations.
So crucial forums for dialogue and trying to build consensus.
Exactly. Getting people talking is the first step.
Now, the UK also has its AI Standards Hub. What's their specific angle?
The AI Standards Hub is a UK government initiative. They explore the role of standards in AI governance, but critically, they really focus on fostering global inclusiveness in the whole standardization process.
So not just standards set by a few powerful players.
That's the emphasis. They recognize standards need broad input to be effective globally.
And they held a big summit this year.
Yeah, their inaugural global summit in March, London and online, partnered with the OECD, UN Human Rights Office, Partnership on AI, a really diverse group.
What are the big themes?
Things like standards versus regulation, diversity and inclusion in standards development, AI assurance, safety and standardization collaboration, and specifically governing foundation models. A real meeting of minds trying to find common ground.
Sounds vital for bringing different views together. The OECD is also a major player in these governance talks, right?
Absolutely central. The OECD continues to shape AI policy discussions, provide deep analysis via its AI Policy Observatory, OECD.ai. They're key for fostering international cooperation and dialogue.
Providing a lot of the data and analysis.
Exactly, underpinning many of these discussions, and their 2025 activities show this.
They were partner in the Standards Hub Summit.
Key partner, yeah. OECD.ai is an essential resource. They collaborate widely with groups like PAI. Their work feeds into civil society governance roadmaps. And the observatory is planning a global risk and AI safety preparedness mapping project with other groups.
Really trying to map out the risks and readiness.
Trying to get a handle on it, yeah.
So OECD right at the heart of it. What about the United Nations system? What's their role in AI governance?
The UN is increasingly engaged. The aim is to align AI development with international human rights law, the SDGs, and those broader digital cooperation frameworks like the Global Digital Compact, Declaration on Future Generations.
Providing the ethical grounding.
Exactly. Ensuring AI serves humanity's broader goals. And we're seeing this translate into specific actions in 2025.
The Governing AI for Humanity report is still influential.
Very much so, especially on the role of standards. The UN Human Rights Office partnered with the Standards Hub Summit. The ITU is leading the AI for Good Summit. UNITRI, the Crime and Justice Institute, is active in safety talks.
And there's a new UN office for this.
Yeah, the UN Office for Digital and Emerging Technologies, led by Amandeep Singh Gill, trying to coordinate efforts across the UN system. And think tanks like Stimson Center are analyzing how to actually integrate these broad UN frameworks into concrete governance strategies.
Moving from principles to practice.
That's the goal.
Okay, so a lot of international organizations involved. What about research institutions, NGOs playing a role? The partnership on AI, PAI, seems really important.
Absolutely. PAI is global, nonprofit, multi-stakeholder, brings together industry, academia, civil society from all over. Their mission is fostering a responsible AI ecosystem through coordination, developing evidence-based frameworks, promoting best practices.
And crucially, they're not a lobby group.
Explicitly not a trade group or lobbying org, they aim to be a neutral convener, a source of reliable info.
And their 2025 work reflects that. Collaborative, research-focused.
Definitely. Co-organize the Standards Hub Summit, work extensively with global bodies like OECD, UN. In April, they published work on prioritizing responsible AI in Africa, showing that global reach and concern for inclusion.
And that evidence partnership, PAIE.
Yeah, the Partnership for AI Evidence with JPAL at MIT. That's about generating rigorous, evidence-based research on AI's social impact, emphasizing the need for data to guide policy.
That evidence seems crucial for making good policy. Another key institution, Stanford HAI and their AI index report. How does that fit into governance?
The Stanford HEI AI Index is widely seen as one of the most authoritative resources tracking global AI trends. It aims for objective, data-driven analysis, R&D, performance, investment, ethics, policy, public opinion, a vital independent source for policymakers, everyone really.
Like a comprehensive annual checkup for AI.
Exactly, a report card. And the 2025 edition had key governance insights.
It was highlight.
Continued rapid performance gains, record corporate investment, faster business adoption, U.S. leading on model quantity, China closing the quality gap, and importantly, an unevenly evolving responsible AI ecosystem.
Meaning?
More governance efforts, yes, but also a rising number of reported AI incidents. It tracked rising global optimism on AI, but with those big regional divides. Plus, performance gains on new benchmarks, real-world deployment in healthcare, autonomous driving, efficiency gains. It's a complex picture, progress and challenges side by side.
So a really valuable data snapshot, including responsible AI efforts. We also have JPEL's PAI, that evidence partnership you mentioned. Their focus is quite specific.
Very specific. PAIE, JPEL, and PAI together uses rigorous research, mostly randomized controlled trials, to find, evaluate, and scale AI apps that demonstrably improve social outcomes, reduce poverty.
Bridging the gap between AI potential and proven impact.
Exactly. They're asking, where does AI make a real, measurable difference in people's lives?
And their 2025 initiatives show that practical focus.
Yeah. Their spring 2025 funding call sought projects evaluating AI interventions in education, health, labor, finance. They highlighted ongoing work, AI tutors, health screening, mobile health platforms generating real-world evidence, putting AI's potential to the test, concretely.
Okay, moving to the UK. The Center for the Governance of AI, Go AI. Their focus is navigating the transition to advanced AI.
That's right. Go AI aims to help humanity navigate that tricky transition through in-depth research and advising decision makers, government, industry, civil society.
What kind of research areas?
Pretty broad. Regulation, responsible development, compute governance, international governance, technical governance, risk assessment, forecasting. Trying to provide the intellectual toolkit for this new era.
And they run programs to build expertise in this field.
Yeah, their well-regarded summer fellowship in London is a great opportunity for early career folks or those transitioning into the field. Mentorship, research experience, networking. They also have year-long research scholar positions for more established researchers, really investing in the next generation of AI governance experts.
Another UK center.
Yeah.
CSER, the Center for the Study of Existential Risk. Broader focus on large-scale risks, including AI.
Correct. CSER at Cambridge takes an interdisciplinary look at mitigating risks that could lead to extinction or civilizational collapse. That includes advanced AI, but also biorisks, environmental risks, nuclear risks. Their perspective is on the most extreme potential outcomes.
Looking at the long-tail risks.
Exactly, and their 2025 activities reflect that broad scope.
What have they been doing?
Continuing research and public engagement. Their March newsletter highlighted work on extinction risk, military AI, global risk science. They launched a new MPhil program in global risk and resilience, hosting seminars, really tackling the big, uncomfortable questions about humanity's future.
Sobering but essential work. Okay, let's shift to national and regional policy dynamics. We touched on the US and EU divergence. What are the key trends there?
Well, the U.S. saw that big shift early 2025 with Trump's executive order prioritizing deregulation for innovation. But despite that, there's still expectation of some new federal mandates coming in 2025 on transparency, bias, explainability, privacy.
It's a bit of push and pull there.
Seems like it. Meanwhile, the EU is implementing its comprehensive AI Act risk-based approach, relies on harmonized standards. This divergence between major powers definitely adds complexity, a fascinating contrast in regulatory philosophy.
And we absolutely need to consider the global south in all of this, right?
Crucial. There's a growing important emphasis on making AI governance inclusive, addressing the specific needs and contexts of the global south. That 2025 Future Society survey flagged strengthening Global South representation as a key priority.
Because models developed elsewhere might miss the mark.
Exactly. Concerns that governance models designed without enough participation risk, overlooking unique realities, may be causing harm or undermining trust. Initiatives like PAI's focus on responsible AI in Africa are important steps. It has to be a truly global conversation.
Now, alongside governance and technical safety, what about the socioeconomic impacts? What are the big worries in 2025?
The main concerns are around potential labor market disruption from automation and the need for workforce adaptation. Davos 2025 discussions highlighted projections of significant job losses by 2030, but also new roles created, especially in AI fields.
And inequality, ensuring benefits are shared.
That's critical too, addressing potential widening inequality, making sure AI's benefits are distributed equitably. It's about making sure AI works for everyone, not just a few.
And are we seeing research focus on these impacts?
Yes, starting to. JPEL's PAIE funds research on AI's impact on labor, education, finance. Economists are studying AI adoption, jobs, skills. Ethics centers are looking at impacts on rights like the right to work. Civil society groups are pushing for sustainability, equity, labor protections, and AI governance.
But maybe lagging behind the focus on pure governance and safety.
It seems that way. While recognized as crucial, the coordinated policy responses for socioeconomic adaptation perhaps haven't caught up yet. Need to be proactive there too.
Okay, so summarizing section 2. A real acceleration in global AI governance efforts in 2025. Lots of players involved. But also significant fragmentation, a need for better coordination.
That captures it well. Summits, standards, policies are multiplying. But navigating this web, achieving interoperability, that's the challenge, as groups like the Standards Hub and PAI emphasize.
And that tension between binding regulations versus industry standards?
Fundamental tension. Plus, the U.S. shift to deregulation adds another layer of potential divergence. And finally, yeah, the socioeconomic adaptation policies seem to be trailing a bit behind the governance and safety push. A complex puzzle, pieces don't always fit neatly.
Okay, let's unpack this. We've hit the race, the governance efforts. Now, section 3 takes us into something increasingly relevant as AI gets smarter. Probing AI consciousness. It sounds like it's moving beyond just philosophy into serious scientific and ethical territory in 2025.
That's exactly it. The question of whether AI can have consciousness, sentience, subjective experience, it's shifting from sci-fi and pure philosophy into a more urgent area of scientific and ethical inquiry this year.
Driven by AI getting better, feeling closer to AGI.
Largely, yes, especially LLMs sounding more human-like, and the sense AGI might not be so far off. Defining and detecting consciousness is still incredibly hard, even in us. But the possibility of conscious AI means we need to explore indicators, implications, the ethics, much more deeply.
It's not just a thought experiment anymore.
Not really. So academic institutions are dedicating resources, bringing experts together.
Like the Oxford Institute for Ethics in AI.
Prominent example. They aim to be a leading global hub. Launched a big 5-year accelerator fellowship program in March, focusing on impacting regulation, industry, public awareness. Plus, events all year on AI and creativity, care, human rights, global regulation.
Trying to translate abstract ideas into practical action.
That seems to be the goal. And elsewhere, too. Ruhr University Bochum in Germany has a dedicated workshop in June just on evaluating artificial consciousness.
How would you even evaluate that?
That's the question. Discussing theoretical, behavioral, ethical approaches to assess potential AI sentience. They've even got a special journal issue plan. Shows real academic focus on this fundamental question.
Interesting. And discussions happening stateside, too. Princeton.
Yeah. Princeton's Language and Intelligence Initiative had a high-profile panel in March. Can machines become conscious? Part of a broader AI lecture series, focused on whether AI might achieve true consciousness as abilities advance and what that tells us about our own minds.
Featuring big names from philosophy, neuroscience.
Right. Trying to understand both AI and ourselves better through this lens.
And universities are trying to bake AI ethics, which must include consciousness, into their programs more broadly. Emory?
Absolutely. Emory's Ethics Center appointed an AI ethics faculty liaison this year, held a student simulation of the GPAI Summit, themed around the right to work in the age of AI ethical issues that get way more complex if AI is conscious, trying to instill this thinking early.
And it's not just ethics, but the deep philosophical stuff, too.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech's panel on AI having a soul.
Yeah, Georgia Tech's panel, Being in the World, Will AI Ever Have a Soul? Brought together philosophy, psychology, neuroscience, AI, even the arts. Discussing consciousness, self-awareness, creativity, what makes us human versus AI, it's truly interdisciplinary about the nature of intelligence itself.
So what are the key scientific and philosophical takes shaping these discussions now?
Well, the core challenge is still defining consciousness, right? Subjective experience. Research is looking for potential indicators in AI. Philosophical ideas like the computational theory of mind remain relevant as AI gets complex.
And neuroscience.
Yeah.
applying what we know about brains.
Trying to, yeah. Though currently, no AI meets the conditions from biological theories. But interestingly, many experts see no fundamental theoretical barrier to conscious AI eventually, which leads to calls for responsible research principles in this sensitive area. Huge uncertainty, profound implications.
And the ethical implications if AI did become conscious, profound doesn't quite cover it.
It really doesn't. AI writes, should they be moral patients with their own interests? It's not just sci-fi anymore. Some experts predict AI sentience within the decade.
Which could cause huge societal divisions.
Potentially, yeah. How we view and treat such systems highlights the urgent need for our ethical frameworks to evolve. Questions about potential AI suffering, how you govern conscious versus unconscious AI, forces us to rethink our own moral lines.
And neuromorphic computing seems really relevant here. Brain-inspired hardware.
Absolutely. Neuromorphic computing mimicking brain processing is increasingly relevant to the consciousness debate in 2025. Promises much better energy efficiency. But more profoundly, it might give us deeper insights into how biological brains work, maybe shedding light on the mechanisms of consciousness itself.
A potential third Big Bang in AI.
Some see it that way. Could significantly advance our understanding and ability to create potentially conscious machines. Understanding the hardware might help understand consciousness.
Okay, summing up Section 3. The AI consciousness discussion has gone mainstream in 2025. Serious inquiry across disciplines. Not just, can it happen? But the practical ethical consequences if it does.
That's spot on. What was niche is now workshops, panels, programs at top centers. Reflects a growing sense that as AI advances, we have to grapple with these deeper questions proactively.
And it's interdisciplinary AI, philosophy, neuroscience, law, ethics, policy, arts.
Underscores the complexity. Ultimately, the goal isn't just theoretical understanding, but informing responsible development, regulation, deployment, considering these profound possibilities, preparing for a future we don't fully grasp yet.
Okay, let's unpack this. Race, governance, consciousness. Now, Section 4, the fundamental imperative of maintaining human control over powerful AI. Safety, alignment, governance, societal controls. Sounds like worries about misalignment, misuse are driving safety research.
Precisely. As AI gets more capable, meaningful human control is just critical for safety, alignment with our values, effective governance, societal well-being. 2025 sees a big, growing focus on AI safety research, verification methods, proactive risk management.
Driven by real concerns.
Yes.
Misalignment, misuse, uncontrollable behavior.
Very real concerns that highly capable AI could go off course, be used badly, or just develop unpredictable emergent behaviors. It's about keeping these powerful tools pointed in the right direction, our direction.
So let's look at the safety research labs, the technical frontiers.
Yeah.
MIRI Machine Intelligence Research Institute, they've been around a while. What's their focus in 2025?
MIR was foundational in AI alignment, historically, focused on the deep theoretical, mathematical stuff, reliable agent design, value specification, error tolerance. But in 2025, they've made a pretty significant strategic pivot.
Why the pivot?
Citing slow progress in technical alignment compared to how fast AI capabilities are advancing. So they've scaled back direct technical alignment work substantially.
And shifted focus too.
Primarily public policy, communications, and research into technical governance, emphasizing raising awareness of catastrophic risks among policymakers, the public, advocating for strong governance, maybe even an international pause on frontier research. It's a big change in approach.
That's dramatic. What kind of work are they doing under this new focus?
Hiring in comms, technical governance. Their technical governance team is still producing work analyzing verification for potential AI treaties, critiquing evaluation methods, developing introductory resources on risk, a book coming out. Less direct alignment research, but still supporting some efforts, some retraining programs. They've been quite open about their funding and the reasoning.
Focusing more on shaping the landscape than the low-level tech.
Seems to be the idea, a major reevaluation given the current pace.
Okay, what about others focused on more direct technical solutions? ARC Prize Foundation Alignment Research Center, they have a specific niche.
Yeah, ARC focuses on creating really challenging benchmarks to evaluate AI progress towards AGI, specifically emphasizing reasoning and efficiency. They see those as critical for safety.
Trying to build tests that really push AI intelligence.
Exactly. And they introduced a new one in 2025, ARC AGI 2.
Building on their first one. What's new?
ARC AGI 1 was already hard. ARC-AGI-2 adds efficiency constraints. It's not just can you solve these novel visual reasoning puzzles, but how much compute does it take? Discourages brute force, rewards more genuinely intelligent solutions.
And they launched a competition around it.
Yep, the ARC Prize 2025. High accuracy on ARC-AGI-2 within strict cost limits. Initial results showed even top models struggled with the efficiency part. Highlights the ongoing challenge of developing truly capable and efficient AI.
Not just smart, but efficiently smart. Seems vital for safety. What about conjecture? Another technical safety lab, but focused on cognitive emulation.
Right. Conjecture initially focused on mechanistic interpretability, understanding AI's inner workings, but they pivoted to cognitive emulation, trying to build bounded AI agents that emulate human-like thought processes.
Believing that might be a safer path, learning from human minds.
That seems to be the idea. And they've been active in the safety community this year.
Presenting at AI Safety Connect.
Yeah, their co-founder presented in Paris. Research continues, though details are often limited by their info hazard policy. They also have that transcription product, Verbalize, but the core research is cognitive emulation, keeping some cards close to their chest.
Interesting variety of technical approaches. Apart research seems more security-focused with AI control.
That's right. Apart research focuses specifically on AI control, mitigating security risks from AI, even if the AI is adversarial or tries to bypass safety measures. It's a security mindset applied to AI safety, external safeguards, resilience against subversion.
Building defenses against potentially rogue AI.
Basically. And they ran a hackathon this year to work on these challenges.
Bringing experts together, what kind of challenges?
Yeah, AI Control Hackathon in London and online in March. Challenges in runtime monitoring of AI behavior, adversarial stress testing of safety mechanisms, formal verification to mathematically prove safety, bounded optimization to limit capabilities, red teaming to find vulnerabilities, very hands-on, security-focused approach to maintaining control.
Putting theory into practice very directly. Okay, so technical research is diverse. What about think tanks? Policy frameworks for control? The Future Society is involved.
Yes, the Future Society works on broad AI governance issues, does stakeholder consultations to identify priorities, advocates for concrete policies for responsible AI.
Bridging tech and societal needs.
Trying to. And they released a report this year highlighting civil society priorities for AI governance.
What did civil society want?
Based on their survey, key things were legally binding red lines for unacceptable risks, mandatory independent third-party audits for general-purpose AI, crisis management frameworks for AI incidents, whistleblower protections, and meaningful participation from civil society, especially the Global South, making sure diverse voices shape AI's future.
Important perspective. Stimson Center, the international security think tank, is also looking at long-term AI impacts.
Right. Stimson's applying its expertise to AI governance, particularly focused on long-term impacts and the interests of future generations. Thinking big picture, long-term security.
And they released a report connecting AI governance to UN frameworks.
Yes, March 2025, Governing AI for the Future of Humanity. Uniquely links the UN Declaration on Future Generations and the Global Digital Compact to promote equitable, sustainable AI governance. A key theme is strategic foresight needing governance structures that are adaptive, resilient, given AI's uncertainties. Proposing specific foresight tools.
Building governance that can last.
That's the aim. Another group advocating specific principles is KDP Center for AI and Digital Policy.
Correct. KB pushes for integrating established AI policy principles, democratic values, rights, rule of law into AI governance frameworks. Champions for human-centered AI policy. And they held an event on AI and democratic values.
Yeah, watch DC 25 AIDV in 2025, presumably focused on that critical intersection. Featured speakers from civil rights groups, UN, academia, industry, showing their commitment to broad dialogue on AI policy and ethics, ensuring AI empowers democracy, not undermines it.
Finally, CLTR Center for Long-Term Resilience in the UK. Focus on societal resilience to extreme risks, including AI policy.
That's right. CLTR works on improving society's ability to withstand and recover from extreme risks. Their AI policy work specifically addresses incident preparedness and crisis management for advanced AI.
Thinking about how we bounce back from AI disasters.
Exactly. And their work on AI crisis preparedness was highlighted in that Future Society report. The need for governments to get better at anticipating, planning for, containing, recovering from AI incidents that threaten public safety or critical infrastructure. Building societal immunity.
So alongside tech research, a lot of policy and governance work trying to ensure human control. Let's look at emerging tools and methods supporting this. Verification mechanisms seem key.
Absolutely crucial. How do you ensure compliance with any potential AI agreements or regulations? There's ongoing research into effective verification. MIR reported on this late 24. It's critical, especially given skepticism about just monitoring and enforcing things in this fast field. Need ways to check everyone's playing by the rules.
And evaluating AI models' capabilities, risks, that's also central.
Cornerstone of governance and control. Though, as MIR cautions, evaluations have limits, especially for preventing catastrophic risks from future, much smarter systems. They want more transparency from devs about evaluation assumptions.
But new evaluation benchmarks are still appearing.
Oh yeah, new ones in 2025 focused on safety, factuality, robustness. ARC-AGI 2, as we discussed, targets efficient reasoning. We need better ways to assess what these systems can actually do and what risks they pose.
We also hear about AI alignment techniques, getting AI to act according to human values. What are the main approaches in 2025?
Key concepts discussed. Outer alignment, getting the AI's stated goals right, versus inner alignment, making sure its emergent goals stay aligned. Value alignment, matching AI criteria to our values, versus intent alignment, making sure AI actions match expectations.
And specific techniques, constitutional AI, RLHF.
Yeah, constitutional AI from Anthropic. Reinforcement learning from human feedback widely used, co-invented by Dario Amodei, and ongoing work in mechanistic interpretability trying to understand the black box focus for Anthropic, historically MIR too. It's about making AI want what we want, do what we expect.
And beyond alignment, there's AI control external safeguards.
Exactly. Complementary to alignment. Building external constraints robust even against AI subversion. The AI Control Hackathon highlighted key areas: runtime monitoring, adversarial stress testing, formal verification, bounded optimization. Red teaming, simulating attacks is also crucial, building layers of defense.
Finally, safety frameworks to guide risk management.
Yes, standardized frameworks are emerging. NIST AI Risk Management Framework and its generative AI profile are influential in the US, though groups like MIR have offered feedback. Other frameworks like Safe Innovation discussed. Plus, major companies have their own internal responsible AI frameworks, establishing guidelines for responsible innovation.
Okay, synthesizing Section 4. Seems like a divergence in safety control strategies. MRI's policy pivot versus others' continued technical work. Verification and evaluation are central, but with technical hurdles. And AI control with its security mindset is rising alongside alignment, reflecting maybe a growing anticipation of potential failures.
That's a very accurate synthesis. The field's grappling with the multifaceted challenge, different groups bringing different perspectives and strategies. It's definitely not monolithic.
Okay, let's unpack this. Covered the race, governance, consciousness, control. Now our final section, Section 5. A novel framework gaining traction in 2025, intelligence sequencing. Argues the order of emergence centralized AGI versus decentralized collective intelligence, DCI, might be the most critical factor, maybe even outweighing post-AGI alignment.
That's right. Intelligence sequencing is a really novel idea causing a stir in AI strategy circles this year. It basically says the order things happen, does centralized AGI come first, or does decentralized collective intelligence mature first? That sequence could be the single most critical factor for our long-term future.
More important than trying to align AGI after it exists.
The argument suggests it might be, yeah. It's a potentially game-changing way to look at AI's future. Suggests the path we take matters more than what we do at the destination.
This AGI first versus DCI first idea, what are the core arguments?
The main argument, mostly from a 2025 paper by Andy E. Williams that got a lot of attention, is that intelligence evolution might follow these path-dependent, maybe irreversible tracks towards distinct attractor basins.
Two main attractors, AGI first and DCI first.
Exactly. The AGI first attractor, centralization, if dominant centralized AGI arrives before robust DCI, we likely get locked in a hierarchy, intense competition, concentrated power, AGI seeking instrumental power, seen as raising existential risks significantly.
Versus the DCI first path.
The DCI first attractor, decentralization. If tech for distributed reasoning, networked cooperation matures first, we might see distributed cooperation, optimization for collective well-being, more resilience, inherent safety, no single points of failure.
And the key is path dependence. Hard to switch tracks once you're on one.
That's a core part of the theory. Feedback loops, structural lock-in could make transition infeasible. Early choices have huge, lasting consequences.
What does this mean for AI safety research then?
It really challenges traditional alignment work, which mostly focuses on controlling AGI after it's here. Sequencing says the order is more fundamental for safety. If AGI-first worlds are inherently competitive, maybe post-hoc alignment isn't enough.
DCI first presented as potentially more robustly safe.
That's the argument, which has big policy implications. Maybe prioritize DCI development, manage or slow down centralized AGI dominance, thinking about the architecture of future intelligence, not just its goals.
A really different lens on AI strategy, and this is gaining traction now.
Yeah, Williams' paper on Urkich and Keogh's discussions on platforms like AI models.fii, it's sparking new thinking about AI's long-term trajectory. Provocative idea, making people rethink assumptions.
It certainly sounds like it. Now, this is theoretical, but are we seeing any actual initiatives working on this decentralized collective intelligence idea?
Yes, fascinatingly, while it's a framework, there are groups actively working on or pushing for decentralized AI in 2025, lending practical weight to the DCI concept. Pluralis Research, for example.
Founded recently, what's their aim?
Early 2024 explicitly aims for true open source AI via decentralized training, collaborative multi-party training of foundation models, an open distributed ecosystem with economic incentives.
Trying to challenge centralized dominance.
Exactly. They got significant seed funding this year. Pioneering protocol learning for training across open networks. Trying to build a more democratized AI development path.
A very concrete example. Others.
Sentient Research Group. They advocate decentralized AI as key to AGI, focusing on data gathering, collaborative training, developing Sentient Chat, a community-driven platform for collaborative tasks, trying to overcome centralized data limits via open systems, incentives, decentralized ownership, leveraging communities.
Interesting approaches emerging, and academic research, too. Federated learning.
Yeah. Work led by Professor Eric Molins at IP Paris focuses on decentralized models using federated learning, driven by data centralization and privacy concerns, collaborative learning among distributed agents like hospitals keeping data local. He presented this early 2025, leveraging distributed data without sacrificing privacy.
And this decentralization idea is even hitting science itself. DeskAI.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Decentralized science, DeSci, is an emerging movement, and DeSci explores combining blockchain decentralized networks with AI for scientific research.
Aiming for open, intelligent scientific ecosystems.
Breaking down barriers in data, funding, review, collaboration. DeSci movement reported momentum this year. DeSci explores using AI for curating knowledge, decentralized supercomputing, AI-assisted funding review, data ownership, borderless collaboration, democratizing science via AI, and decentralization.
So, intelligent sequencing and DCI first aren't just theory. Real initiatives are trying to build it. What are the broader strategic implications of this framework?
It really reframes things, suggests AGI first versus DCI first is a fundamental civilizational choice competition versus cooperation as the foundation for advanced intelligence. Elevates the strategic importance of AI architecture choices.
Implying policy should actively shape the sequence.
If the theory holds, yeah. Long-term safety might need proactive policies influencing the development sequence, incentivizing DCI, open source, decentralized training funding, while maybe regulating, slowing, imposing safety on centralized AGI, connects right back to governance safety talks.
And it even touches on how intelligence itself models the world.
Yeah, a fascinating epistemic dimension. Does the method of intelligence modeling rigid external rules versus flexible internal visualization inherently bias evolution towards competition or cooperation? How intelligence learns might predetermine its behavior.
Okay, summing up Section 5. Intelligence sequencing offers a potentially paradigm-shifting view on AI strategy. Focus shifts from post-AGI alignment to the strategic order of emergence. And real-world DCI initiatives show this isn't just theory, but there's tension with the dominant centralized AGI trend, a critical juncture.
That's a very accurate synthesis. It highlights crucial strategic choices ahead, investment, research, policy. The path chosen now could have profound, lasting consequences.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the 2025 AGI landscape. We've covered a huge amount of ground today: the intense global race, the growing governance efforts, the fascinating exploration of AI consciousness, the critical need for human control, and this emerging framework of intelligence sequencing.
Phew. Yeah, it's clear this field is not only moving incredibly fast, but it's also deeply interconnected. Technology, policy, ethics, even philosophy, they're all tangled together.
Indeed. And as we said right at the start, the dynamic, uncertain nature of it all, which our main source emphasized, means this picture we've painted is really just a snapshot in time.
Absolutely. The landscape will keep shifting, evolving in ways we probably can't fully predict right now.
So for you listening in, here's a final thought to maybe chew on. Given these 2025 trends we've explored and this intriguing intelligence sequencing framework, what kind of future for AI and humanity seems most likely to you?
And perhaps more importantly, what role can our own individual understanding and engagement actually play in shaping whatever future comes?
We definitely encourage you to keep exploring these complex issues. Consider the diverse perspectives and initiatives we've discussed today.
There are so many fascinating avenues for more digging, more critical thinking.
Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive. It's been a fascinating journey through the AGI landscape of 2025.